So I'm Tara Kent. I'm autistic and ADHD. I'm a specialist behaviour practitioner, non-ABA, and I'm a developmental educator. So my specialisation is in the nature and impact of disability. I get asked a lot about basic topics, well, basic for me maybe, on things like demand avoidance and pathological demand avoidance as they relate to people who are autistic. And, I'm pretty happy to share my perspectives on what they are and how they affect people, because a lot of people don't really understand PDA. A lot of people think PDA is oppositional defiance disorder, ODD, as a lot of people who are autistic are diagnosed ODD, oppositionally defiant. Now, oppositional defiance infers this element of forced control, like people who are autistic need to be in control of every situation. That's not what PDA is. It's very different to that. PDA actually, and all demand avoidance, actually comes from a place of fear. It comes from a place of feeling like you're being controlled by everything and everyone around you. When I say everything, I mean even expectations, even social demands, even society's expectations. They can feel really controlling. So I know when I go somewhere and I'm supposed to say hello and say goodbye and follow social norms, that feels very controlling to me. And it feels like, well, I don't need to do those things myself. I can just walk in and start talking about whatever I want to talk about. But I suppose people in that environment would be like, well, why didn't you say hello? Or why didn't you ask about my weekend? Or whatever it may be. And some people do, some people don't. Some people see that as a courtesy. Some see it as a forced interaction. People who are PDA, it's not that they're fighting to be in control. It's that they're fighting to not feel controlled by everything else and everyone else. The other day, I wrote a list of work I had to do the next morning. Woke up the next morning and did something not on the list. Now, why would I feel controlled by my own list? That's the nature of PDA. I felt controlled and I went, I'm not doing that. I'll do something different. I'll do what I want to do, even though I was the one that came up with the dang list. So PDA is about avoiding and rejecting feelings of being controlled. And that's very different to having to have this agenda where you've got to own and control everyone around you. That's certainly not it's not the place it comes from. People get more pronounced and strong PDA profiles when people push against that, when people force those same controlling situations in society, or the same way of speaking that makes them feel controlled. Do this, do that, don't do this, stop, no. They're controlling. The way to talk to someone who has a PDA profile or any demand avoidance profile is to not use directional language. Don't say, hey, come and have lunch now. Say, geez, I'm starving. I'm going to get some food. Let me know if you want anything. And let them come to you. If it's a situation of risk, say you've got a child climbing high on a fort and they might fall off. This happened recently. I'll be like, hey, quick, someone get me a first aid kit. If this child falls, you smack his head and there's going to be blood everywhere. Suddenly, whoa. That child hops down off the fort. They're like, whoa, I'm going to have an injury. So in order to talk PDA-friendly language, you've got to show the consequence, not talk about a punishment. It's not about do this or don't do this, do that. They're all too directional. They rile people up. It's not what we want.